All right, welcome back to In the Zone, presented by GLHS Sports Zone and GLHS TV in the back. I'm Aaron Jolly. That's Matt Miller. And
How you doing?
Oh, it's even more Italian. And we have another special guest on this week. You want to introduce yourself?
My name's Jane Fernandez. I play baseball, and I'm the manager for the varsity boys basketball team.
All right, so lots to get into, a lot of preseason stuff. So let's just get the schedules out of the way. We have the girls play their first game Thursday, but they're on the road, girls varsity. Their home opener is next Tuesday at GL. And then boys, their first game is actually at home, correct me if I'm wrong, on Thursday at what, 4? Or 4 or 6?
6 o'clock.
Varsity plays
Dayton.
at 6 against Dayton. So that's going to be at home on Thursday. So going into, let's start with boys, because obviously we have you here. How have they looked in the preseason? Because the one scrimmage I went to, they looked like they played okay.
Yeah, so we played not our best basketball, but we're obviously like dusting off the cobwebs, right? Most of them haven't played basketball since August, and then with the season just starting and the scrimmages all just coming through, they're trying to just feel for what's their best and what they need to work.
Which is, I think, what preseason's for.
That's also expected.
Like for any sport, yeah.
Any sport, yeah. So how do you feel like, based off of your performance in practices, how do you feel the season's going to go off?
Yeah, so in practice, we have a lot of aspiring talent. Mm-hmm. Like our JV team, we can obviously see that most of them are going to be very dominant varsity players like in the future. But for right now, our varsity team is at its peak, and this is.
I was going to say, because you have 8 seniors, so both points that you just made are very important, because the varsity team, obviously with 8 seniors, should be almost unstoppable. Also, with 8 seniors, that means you're going to have 8 spots open next year, in theory, for those JV players to come and fill. So I think that's very important to keep an eye on. But speaking of,
especially because there's no juniors.
I was going to say, there's no juniors on the varsity squad. So
one might say unheard of.
We think we've had like a 10-minute conversation on this in the past, in a previous episode.
Yeah, that was the joke. I said it was unheard of, like 3
Which it
times
is.
already.
But who are the sophomores that are on the team? There's no freshmen on varsity, but who are the sophomores that are on varsity?
The sophomores on varsity include Max Ryvicker, Dominic Labisi, and Michael Basile.
Okay, so it's a squad of 11.
Basically, yes.
And so 8 of them being seniors. Now, the scrimmage I was at, the starting lineup, you had Fajardo, you had Sotosani, you had McGrath, you had McCulloch, and you had Lev, Villanueva.
Yes.
Is that stay the same for the rest of the scrimmages?
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's what we're going to go into the season with?
Yeah,
okay.
So that's the starting 5 that we're going to go into the season with. But then, obviously, as the season goes by and performances keep getting higher and higher, and we keep...
You might see changes.
Yeah, we might see changes. Max Ryvicker might... It's a long shot, but with the way that he's been playing in the scrimmages, it looks like he'll be a starting...
Because I know both of the other... Because Aiden Key is one of the seniors that comes off the bench. Who else? You have Jake Bowen, so he's not really a guard. And then who's the other senior?
Lev.
Well, no, you have... So how many seniors are on the team? 8 or 7?
There's 8, because there's Key, Bowen,
and then the starting
Lev,
5.
and then the starting 5.
Wait? Who am I missing from the starting 5? You have Lev starts. McGrath starts.
Lev, McGrath, Fajardo.
Yep.
McCulloch, Sotosani.
That's the starting 5.
That's the starting 5.
Off the bench, you have Jake Bowen.
Bowen and Key, so 7.
So 7 seniors on the team.
7
okay.
seniors. Yeah.
So that makes more sense, because it was a even split. So you're saying that, so obviously the guard who's a senior on the bench is Aiden Key, who I've played with him before. He's a great player. But do you think Max Ryvicker can maybe beat him out for the 6 man?
I think Max could beat him out for the 6 man any day of the week. Max is one of those players where he works hard and he works harder at his craft more than like shooting threes or...
He works on what's important.
He works on... He knows what he's good at, and he knows what he has to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So off of that...
That's always important.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah, knowing, I mean, you can play, for example, like you play lacrosse.
Yeah.
You play a game, you might play, a great game in one area and a bad game in another. But then you know what you have to go into, next week working on based on that one bad game. Mm-hmm. So that way you can hopefully have a great game overall in your next one. So I think, I've seen him at the gym, putting up, mid-range shots, off the dribble stuff, catch and shoot stuff, which is what you see him doing in the games. So let's move over to girls. So Jaden and I were at the first home girls scrimmage, which was last Friday. And there's one pattern I think that we noticed, and Matt, you tell me if this sounds normal because we both don't think it is.
All right.
90%, I want to say almost all of their points in each quarter came in the last minute and 30 seconds of the quarter, and it's an 8-minute quarter.
8-minute quarter
for both teams.
Both teams, all their points.
Almost
came in the last
all their
minute
points
and a
came in
half.
the last minute and a half of each quarter.
I'm not gonna say that's normal, but I guess it maybe would make sense a bit because, towards the end they could be playing insane defense all throughout.
Well, I think
towards
the defense,
end, they slow down a bit. That's when people are able to start getting their shots off.
And Jaden, correct me if I'm wrong. The defense, GL's defense looked really good. They were jumping on them. They had a lot of energy. Chelsea Keysweater had 6 or 7 steals, which I think their main focus coming out of that should have been how do we turn all of these steals we're getting into offense.
Exactly.
Right? Because they're getting all these defensive stops, but they're not getting anything from it.
Did the lack of points come from their the inability to just score baskets? Were they shooting and missing, or were they just not being able to create offense?
So they shot a lot of threes, which didn't go down.
Okay.
And then but those on the fast breaks, even when they had layups, I feel like there were a lot of missed layups.
Yeah, there was.
That's also just a lot of skill work that needs to be worked on. I feel like
that's just practice.
It was
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's just practice.
More practice.
And think about it.
That was only scrimmage.
Let's say Chelsea alone has 2 steals a quarter, which is about what she had. That's what? That's 4 points. That's 4 points. Every quarter. Like I said, I think I said it on my broadcast. If they can, if they score, for example, I think they scored 8 points as their average in the last minute and 30 seconds of each quarter. If they added another 8 points to the other, the time before that, they'd be 10 times better. They'd be scoring obviously double their points.
What was the final score of that game?
Oh God!
All I know is the first quarter was 8-2. The second quarter
was 8 to. The first quarter was 8 to 2.
The second quarter was 16.
I want to say it was 50 something, or no, it was 40 something to. I think it was 47-41. I think is what it was.
47-36, I believe.
Okay, whatever it was, but so they won overall. But the way they did it is they had the scores reset after the half. So they played 4 quarters, but just going into the second half was 0-0. So we added it at the end. Okay. But they won overall, and they won. I think they won 3 quarters.
Yeah, they won 3 of the 4 quarters because
that's always good.
Because the one quarter that they didn't win, it was just it was good defense, but they were just putting up
that number 12 girl for South Plainfield was the 3rd quarter. I remember it. Put up she was hitting anything and everything she wanted. They were dumping the ball. Number 30 down low was 6 feet tall. I mean, there's not really a great way to stop it. But yeah, so 2 positives. Girls and boys varsity are looking strong going into the year. Ice hockey has already gotten the regular season underway, if I'm not mistaken. They're 2-0.
Yeah, they huge opener.
Yeah.
Already. I think I know personally the 7-4 win against Livingston.
Yep, that was most recent.
About that.
Yep. So they beat St. Joe's, I think it was, and Livingston. St. Joe's they beat by 1, and Livingston they beat, obviously, like you said, 7-4.
7-4, yeah.
So really strong start for them. They're looking like they're the same team as last year, minus Brian Kramer. I know that Silverman can't play for a while.
It's going to be a few days before he can start playing.
He can't play until January.
It's the first month.
Yeah, I think he has to sit out a month.
There's a grace period of 30 days if you transfer to a school.
Yeah, so, but obviously, once they get him, they're going to be even better because, he's, coming from a spot where, obviously he's a great hockey player, but he's coming from a spot where he was competing with some of the best high school hockey players in the country, on his team and on other teams. So I think he's going to be a great addition for them. Obviously, the Sixnius brothers who are back, Jordan and Teddy Baum are back.
Yep.
So
Jordan had a big game against Livingston also. He was...
Oh, did he? I didn't look at the stats.
He had 2 goals.
Oh, he had 2 of the goals
for them. Yeah, it's a lot of assisting, which is always good.
So hopefully, obviously, the Highlander hockey team can run it back from last year because that state championship 4 overtimes was insane, and I mean, you gotta be thinking that that's the first three-peat in history if we do it. In high school history.
I'm sure not in all of high school history.
For hockey?
I wouldn't say all of high school history. I'm saying definitely all of GL history.
Without a doubt.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've never heard of a team three-peating in hockey.
I'm sure there's like some.
Oh, maybe.
There's gotta be some place
I'm
up
curious.
north.
Yeah, I'm curious if if our specific group in New Jersey, if anyone's ever done that.
I wouldn't think so.
Who's in the group? Like Summit.
Summit, Cranford, GL.
Westfield in there?
Westfield
no.
for hockey?
I don't think they're in there. I think Westfield's a group up.
Maybe. Scotch Plains.
Yeah.
New Prov.
Yeah.
Well, New Prov's combined with us for hockey, so it doesn't really matter.
It's
but for other sports.
Technically, yes.
Okay, so and then wrestling hasn't started yet. They haven't had a match yet.
They've had a few practices. I think they're having a match tonight.
No, I think it's tomorrow.
They have something. I see mats are being set up everywhere.
Yeah, so the wrestling team has their first match tomorrow. High expectations for them.
Yes.
After making a state, obviously they lost, but they made a state championship run last year. Minus, obviously, they don't have their coach. Rick Ortega is now coaching for ALJ.
They have a whole new staff.
A whole new coaching staff, but the team looks strong. They have a lot of returning guys. I think the only guy they lost was Sheehan and.
They missed Brandon Rayak.
And they lost Brandon Rayak.
He's a big loss.
Yeah, that's a big loss for them. But hopefully, an underclassman can step up.
Mm-hmm. Thomas DiNorsio looked good. When Rayak was gone last year with an injury, Thomas DiNorsio looked really good.
That's what I'm hoping. I was thinking about that.
Especially as a freshman, too.
Yeah, and this year, obviously, he's gotten bigger, stronger.
I've also been hearing good things about Chris Haddad.
Yep.
I know he's going to be good.
He's going to be good.
Chris Haddad, I know him personally. I love the kid.
Yeah.
He said that he was going to be the starting heavyweight, I believe.
Wow.
So,
really? Okay, yeah.
So
Obviously, he's not going to be. Obviously, he's not going to be able to beat in Rayak's class.
in the situation that we have, the heavyweight would have either been Sean Secamani, who's a true heavyweight, or Chris Haddad, who's.
But they fought for it. All right, they wrestle for the spot. It's kind of like their tryout, if you will.
Or Saigo.
Or Saigo. Can't forget Saigo. But no, obviously Haddad earned the spot, so he's going to be wrestling heavyweight, I guess. I didn't even realize that. I feel like someone did tell me that, and I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, I've heard about it this week.
So next week we're going to have scores to break down. We're going to have I don't know when fencing. I know swim started.
I know nothing about
they
fencing.
lost. I know swim lost to Westfield.
We have that here.
Which was kind of expected.
No, really.
I couldn't tell you anything about fencing either. I'm gonna have to do some research on it.
I have a friend, so
swim lost
Caden?
to
Eva.
I don't know.
Yeah. So swim lost to Westfield. I don't know if they have had another meet yet. I couldn't tell you. They're probably in the back laughing because I know one of them back there swims. So they're probably laughing at me because I don't know what I'm talking about.
We just heard some awes from back there also.
Yeah. So
yeah, they've been screaming and laughing.
There's been some.
That's a typical thing for us. There's a lot of chatter back there.
Really, I haven't heard it before.
So, really?
No,
so I think, that's about it. I'm not forgetting any super big sports right now, am I? I mean, no games have gotten underway. I think next week we're gonna have scores. I'm not forgetting anything, right? Winter track. Wait, what about winter track?
Winter track, we haven't really started that much. I know we just had a scrimmage against New Prov.
How'd you guys do?
Well, there's not really many standings. Just like either.
Did you beat them?
Yeah, not really.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
Obviously, that doesn't seem like anything positive.
You could say.
Okay, so that's gonna do it for this episode of In the Zone, presented by GLHS Sports Zone and the TV crew in the back, GLHS TV. And yeah, anything else before we head out?
Any words from our special guest?
Yeah. First time on the podcast. How'd it go?
Great.
Not really. Just like saying.
I'm so happy to be accompanied by Matt Miller and the Aaron Jolly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So that's going to do it. Thanks to Sports Zone and GLHS TV for helping us out with this, and we will see you next week.